Welcome back to Pack Proof. Today we're going to be reviewing the MSR stove. I've been looking forward to this one. I finally got it in. Got the can in as well. So a little bit about this stove. The stove itself weighs either 318 grams, 11.2 ounces, or 0.7 pounds. So this is actually a pretty light stove. It fits in the bag pretty nice. It is a little bit bigger than your normal stove, I should say, but you do have 3 points of contact. This one has a bigger footprint when you set it down, so it shouldn't fall over when you have bigger pots on it or anything like that. This thing does work with white gas, of course, kerosene, or unleaded fuel. So that is kind of nice. And then a few other little things. This bottle right here is 30 fluid ounces or 887 milliliters. This thing comes in around 27.95, I'd like to say. This one right here is 159.95 for this stove, and that does not include the bottle. So the bottle is separate from the stove. So together you're looking about 180, 190 bucks. And if you want the bigger service kit they provide, it's anywhere from $30 to $40. So real quick, we'll just dive into this. So right out the gate, you get the stove. These things just pull open like this. It's a big footprint, as you can see. It's about 8 inches apart. You get your lines. This slides into the actual bottle. It kind of has a hook to it. This is air line. Here's where you can open the fuel, close the fuel. You pump it up right here. So this is how you pump it up with some fuel in there. You will need to take this screw out. And then right here is where, when you pump it up, either the white fuel or whatever you have will go into this pan, and this is what ignites. If you pump it up too much, this thing, when you light it, it will kind of explode, kind of like get a really big flame. So that's something to be a little worried about when you first light these. Always test them out before you take them out. It does hold up pretty well from the reviews I've seen. I will definitely be testing this to see how I like it. I do like the actual sitting system for where your stove pot sits is more stable and it's not sitting 4 or 5 inches off the ground on a gas can. And then this cap will just come off like this. You push down and twist. Comes off. Got the seal, plastic. Set that out of the way. Here's your can. They come empty. So that's another thing. These bottles are not full of any fluid. So then you slip these in like this. It's a lot easier to do it that way. It is a little bit of a pain to kind of finesse it out. Just like that, and you should have it out. Find it a lot easier to slip this in and pull it in like that, and then just screw it on. Make sure it's tight, and that's how it sits, just like so. And then you got your can over here. You can pump it up, get your fuel into the line. So it's like a big suction thing, and it sucks it in and pumps it through to get into your little pot under here, little pan, so you can fill it, so it lights up and has fuel. Good thing is, white gas is more for colder weather and stuff like that. Quick little tip though, MSR does provide white fuel. It is way better in the cold weather than anything. It is called the MSR Super Fuel. If they do only sell it in 1 quart, it's about $14.95 a quart. So you'll need a couple of those. If you want to have some on reserve, Coleman makes another one. They make it in a gallon, and that is white gas, and that comes in at $22.69 for a gallon. So that is what I have here. I do not have the MSR. I'm still waiting on it, but I do have the Coleman white fuel, and that is about 22 bucks. So with that being said, though, the MSR fuel is more for colder temperatures. If you're living in Alaska or something like that, I would say get the MSR fuel. If you're more in a warmer climate, the Coleman will do just fine. The Coleman is not really good when the weather starts dropping rapidly below 15 degrees. It kind of likes to freeze up a bit, so that is something to be worried about. And when you open white fuel, you got about a few months. I would give it about 5 to 6 months before the white fuel starts getting a little weird on you. So if you're going to use it and you're going to use a whole gallon in one summer, I would get the gallon. If not, I would just stick to getting quarts so you don't waste a bunch. So yeah, this is how this sits. And we can take this off. So another thing is, when you're putting it on when it's full, you can just do this and it's a lot easier. Slide it up and pop it out. And then you can just put your cap right back on. And you can hook this onto your bag if you need to. Next up in here, you get the instruction manual. They do make different size cans. Pretty sure there's 10, 15, and 20 ounces. This is the biggest bottle you can get, is a 30. You do have a couple shields here, and you get the little service kit, a little bit of a jet, or this is a blocker, got a seal, this, and you got your pump cup oil. Right here, these are shields that go around, so they just open up. You can open these all the way up. Something like this. And these go around your stove, like so. You'll just have to bend it around. And when you set it in, your pot handle will go out that way. Or you can set this like this. And that makes it so air can still come in. But you'd have to set it up a little bit better than this. But then your bottle can sit over here, not be in the way. Your pot can fit in here, and it keeps the heat around this. So no wind or anything like that will blow into it. Kind of a nice thing they add. Get this all packed back up. Okay, so then you have a smaller one. I would like to say this one sits underneath the stove. Kind of like so. If you're cooking on wood or something like that, I would definitely keep this underneath. If not, it's extra weight, no need to carry it. It doesn't weigh too much, to be honest. It's a pretty lightweight product, so I wouldn't worry too much about it all. Again, this thing only weighs 0.7 pounds. So the only thing this one did not come with is the stuff sack that this all goes into. I got this one on sale. I found a better deal for about $127, and it didn't have the stuff sack, so it's alright with me. I'm happy I got this. We're gonna go test it out and see how it works out. Boil time for this stove for 1 liter is 3.5 minutes long, so that is pretty good. I do like that. My other one does it in about 4 to 4.5 minutes. So it's about the same amount of time. This one just burns a little bit hotter. That's the only difference. So it does make up for it. The part number for this exact stove is 408180663. 33, and you can get this exact one for right around the $159, 160 bucks for this exact one. They do make other models. There's more advanced models, and there's, I think, one lower tier model than this one. I just like this one because it has a nice firm stand to it. Doesn't feel flimsy. These are actually pretty locked in, so I do like that. And all this stuff in here, as it goes bad, you could just replace the components instead of buying a complete new kit. A lot cheaper. And all this stuff they do sell on the MSR website. So with this stove, what you do is take this, pump it up, give like 2 pumps. This is your adjusting valve to how much fluid's gonna drip in as the stove is running. So you just give it a little twist. Make sure your bowl fills up. Look right there. You can take a lighter, whatever you want, and it'll start. And you kind of just gotta adjust this to how much you want going. And then when you want it off, you just turn that. And there it is. Now the heat shield that goes around it will keep that flame from doing what it's doing, and it'll just stay in one spot instead of coming around. So we'll just let that burn out. All the smoke's coming because right now there is no fluid coming in there. It's a brand new stove, so I kind of got to break it in a bit. But that heat shield is what goes around, and it will keep it from the wind taking it and moving it around and everything, and blowing it all over the place. And that's what keeps that in. And then it'll just burn out once you stop the fluid from coming in. And you gotta be careful with this white gas, because it'll still be burning and you just won't see flames for a second. But as you can see, this thing right here, once we turn it, no fluid comes in from this anymore. Now if you want this to last a while and burn for a few minutes, if you just leave this thing barely open, it'll drop enough fluid in to keep the stove constantly going. So that is something that's really nice about it, is you don't need constant this turn just a bit. Fluid will keep coming through, drop it in here to light the fire, to keep everything moving. And then once you want it to burn out, if you just do this, turn that and just let it all burn out, it'll burn your pan out. This little thing right here, so you don't have to have fluid constantly in there or dump it out once you let the fire out. And yeah, but like I would always recommend, once you get one of these, I would test them before you go out, because it would suck to figure a lot of problems out or anything out once everything is done. This thing is completely full, 30 fluid ounces. It weighs in at about 1.5 pounds, about a pound, completely full. So super light. Another thing is, when you screw these on, make sure when you're screwing them on that you don't strip it out or put it in sideways, because it will strip, and you just gotta make sure it's straight up and down. So when you do it, just make sure you're like this, and then you can unscrew this. Thank you guys for watching Pack Proof. I'll be coming back at you guys with another video shortly.